Negative thoughts aren't just annoying. They shape how you see yourself, your future, and your potential. The more you entertain them, the stronger they grow. It's like weeds in your mind. Left unchecked, they drain your confidence, cloud your decisions, and keep you stuck in cycles of worry and doubt. But what if breaking free wasn't as complicated as it seems? What if a simple shift in perspective could weaken their grip and bring clarity, confidence, and a real sense of control over your own mind? Buddhism teaches that positive thinking isn't merely an idea. It's a practice that can truly transform your life, bringing about deep inner peace and happiness. This closely aligns with the teachings of Eckhart Tolle. So let's explore how this helps you to nurture joy, compassion, and resilience, so we can tackle life's challenges with a calm mindset and embrace the power of positive thinking. If you're serious about your personal health, whether you want to stop suffering, get clear guidance on how to stop overthinking, or to be more present in life, now's the perfect time to subscribe to our channel. Like this video if you're ready to grow further as a person. Now let's continue. Buddhism teaches that positive thinking is all about how our thoughts can shape our reality. How we see the world really shapes how we feel about it, and our minds hold the secret to finding genuine happiness. Eckhart Tolle, in The Power of Now, highlights this same truth, emphasizing that much of our suffering comes from attachment to the past and anxiety about the future. He writes, "Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life. By letting go of these mental burdens and focusing on the present, we open the door to real peace and joy." Something deeply aligned with Buddhist teachings. So, what does Buddhism say about positive thinking? It's really not about pushing ourselves to be happy all the time or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's all about getting your mind to really see reality as it is, without clinging to things or pushing them away, and nurturing a sense of peace and contentment within yourself. This practice really revolves around getting a grasp on karma and how our minds are conditioned. Every thought we have is like planting a seed in our mind, and over time it will grow into something that influences how we act and feel. If we keep focusing on negativity, resentment, or fear, those feelings will start to become our usual way of being. When we make an effort to nurture gratitude, compassion, and wisdom, our minds tend to lean more towards positivity. Buddha really highlighted how crucial right thought is, and it's one of the main parts of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right thought is all about guiding our minds to focus on kindness, selflessness, and wisdom. When we stop focusing on our own worries and start looking at the bigger picture, we begin to view the world in a new light, not as a place filled with dangers, but as a space where everything is connected and full of possibilities. A great way to kickstart positive thinking is by practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness helps us notice our thought patterns and gently steer them in a different direction. Rather than getting stuck in endless loops of worry or negativity, we can start to notice our thoughts as they come up and just let them pass. It's all about picking the ones that lift us up and help us feel good. Eckhart Tolle expands on this idea in A New Earth, where he encourages us to observe our thoughts without getting lost in them. He says, "Watch any thought that arises. Instead of being the thought, be the awareness behind it." This aligns with the Buddhist perspective of detaching from thoughts and simply witnessing them as they come and go. By stepping back and becoming the observer, we gain the power to break free from automatic negative reactions and cultivate a deep sense of inner stillness. Another important thing to consider is meditation, or pavana, which basically means nurturing the mind. When we practice loving kindness meditation or metta, we really work on creating a sense of goodwill for ourselves and those around us. This doesn't mean we should ignore problems. Instead, it's about tackling them with a balanced and kind mindset, rather than reacting out of fear. A really interesting idea in Buddhism is that our thoughts shape the world around us. If we take the time to nurture a mind that's filled with gratitude, patience, and wisdom, we end up creating a life that truly reflects those qualities. You know, the outside world can throw us some curveballs, But the cool thing is that we can always manage our inner world. In the end, positive thinking in Buddhism isn't about ignoring what's real. It's about understanding it clearly and reacting in a thoughtful way. When we become more aware, practice gratitude, and pick thoughts that promote peace and kindness, we really change how we experience life. Being mindful really helps us change the way we think and feel. In Buddhism, there's this concept called sati. It's a key practice that helps us perceive reality just as it is without getting bogged down by negative emotions or knee-jerk reactions. So, how does mindfulness actually help us build a positive mindset? You'll find the answer in being aware. Once we start noticing our mental habits, we can actually change them. A lot of our pain really comes from how our minds like to hang on to the past or stress about what's ahead. We often find ourselves going over old regrets or worries, which just keeps those negative patterns alive and makes it harder to see what's happening right now. Mindfulness helps break this cycle by pulling our focus back to the present moment, letting us experience life with more clarity and peace. One straightforward but meaningful way to practice mindfulness is by focusing on your breath, also known as anapanasati. When we pay attention to each breath in and out, we help our mind stay in the moment. When we start to notice those negative thoughts popping up, like self-doubt, anger, or worry, we can simply bring our attention back to our breath. This helps keep those thoughts from taking over. One more great tool is to watch your thoughts without getting attached to them. The Buddha likened the mind to a wide open sky, with thoughts drifting by like clouds. When we learn to observe our thoughts as they come and go without getting caught up in them, we can really free ourselves from their hold. Rather than saying, "I am anxious," we can notice anxiety is arising. This little change helps lessen the grip of negative feelings and opens up room for more positive vibes. Mindfulness really helps us to cultivate a sense of gratitude and appreciation for what's happening right now. We often overlook the simple joys in life, like enjoying a meal, having a chat, or feeling the warmth of the sun. When we really pay attention to these experiences, we start to feel a natural sense of contentment. The more we pay attention to the good things in our lives, the more our minds start to pick up on positivity. One of the coolest things about mindfulness is how it can really shake up those automatic negative thoughts we often have. When a tough situation comes up, instead of jumping right in, we take a moment to breathe and really notice how we're feeling. This break lets us pick a response that's based on wisdom instead of fear. Buddhist teachings remind us that whatever we pay attention to tends to expand. When we keep feeding thoughts of anger, envy, or despair, they just get stronger and stronger. If we focus on thoughts of kindness, patience, and gratitude, they really start to grow and thrive. Mindfulness is all about making that shift, helping us turn our minds into allies instead of enemies. When we practice mindfulness every day, whether it's through meditation, taking a mindful walk, or just being aware of our thoughts, we set ourselves up for a more positive, resilient, and peaceful way of thinking. It's really about finding clarity in life and picking thoughts that bring you joy, rather than just pushing for positivity. In Buddhism, true positive thinking goes beyond just personal happiness. It's all about nurturing a mindset that spreads kindness and compassion. A positive mindset in the Buddhist way really connects with metta, which is all about loving kindness, and karuna, or compassion. These qualities change not just how we feel inside, but also how we connect with everything around us. Loving kindness is all about wishing the best for everyone, including ourselves. It's a great way to combat negativity since it swaps out resentment, anger, and judgment for warmth and goodwill. Buddha shared that a mind full of loving kindness is like a lamp. It lights up everyone equally, without any bias. When we nurture metta, we naturally start to see things in a more positive light, since our hearts are free from any hostility. Compassion is all about noticing when someone is hurting and stepping in to help with kindness. Lots of folks believe that compassion is all about taking on the struggles of others. But in Buddhism, it's really about seeing suffering without letting it weigh you down. Real compassion comes from a place of understanding. It recognizes suffering and chooses to respond with kindness rather than giving in to despair. One of the most transformative practices in Buddhism is metabhavism, metabhavana, which is all about loving kindness meditation. This meditation is all about quietly saying phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be free from suffering, may all beings be happy." We kick things off with ourselves. Then we spread these good vibes to our loved ones, people we feel neutral about, and even those who have caused us pain over time. This practice helps to rewire our brains, so kindness becomes our go-to response rather than negativity. Research in neuroscience shows that practicing metta-meditation regularly can boost positive feelings, lower stress levels, and improve overall well-being. This idea aligns with Eckhart Tolle's teachings in The Power of Now, where he emphasizes that suffering comes from our attachment to thoughts and emotions rather than from the emotions themselves. He writes, "The primary cause of unhappiness is never the situation, but your thoughts about it. By shifting our awareness away from identifying with negative thoughts, as in Buddhist mindfulness practice, we create space for peace and kindness to arise naturally." Compassion really helps when it comes to tackling negative self-talk. We often tend to be way tougher on ourselves than we would be on anyone else. The Buddhist path shows us that just like we want happiness for others, we should also be kind to ourselves. Self-compassion isn't just about being easy on yourself. It's really the key to having a stable and positive mindset. When we let go of our own mistakes and show ourselves some kindness, we open up the emotional space that's essential for growth and happiness. The Dalai Lama once said, "If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion." This really points out an important truth. Living a positive life isn't just about seeking your own pleasure. It's about connecting with others and filling your heart with kindness. When we make it a point to spread happiness to those around us, we end up nurturing our own happiness too. Compassion really has this amazing ability to break down the walls that separate us from one another. When we recognize that all beings are connected, feelings of envy and resentment start to disappear. Rather than feeling threatened by the success of others, we celebrate it. Rather than responding to negativity with anger, we choose to approach it with understanding. This change brings about a life that's truly positive, not just putting on a happy face, but experiencing real, lasting joy. When we make compassion and loving kindness part of our everyday routine, we change not just how we think, but also the world we live in. A mind that's filled with thoughts is a mind that finds peace, and from that peace comes the strong positivity that Buddhism talks about. Changing negative thoughts and feelings is just a part of being human, but Buddhism shows us that we don't have to be controlled by them. Rather than pushing negativity away, denying it, or feeling swamped by it, we can actually learn to change it into something positive. It's all about being aware, accepting things as they are, and responding in a thoughtful way. First off, it's important to realize that just because we think something, it doesn't mean it's true. We often end up taking our thoughts way too seriously, thinking that we have to believe everything our mind throws at us. Buddhism teaches us that our thoughts are just fleeting moments in our minds, kind of like clouds drifting across the sky. People come and go. They don't really define who we are. Once we get this, we can notice negative thoughts without letting them take over us. Eckhart Tolle explores this idea in A New Earth, explaining that the ego feeds on identifying with thoughts, especially negative ones. He states, rather than being your thoughts and emotions, be the awareness behind them. This perspective mirrors Buddhist non-attachment. When we detach from our thoughts and observe them with awareness, they lose their grip on us. A really impactful Buddhist practice for turning negativity around is mindful observation, also known as vassa meditation. Rather than battling a negative emotion, We take a moment to sit with it, acknowledge it, and explore what it's all about. When we feel anger, we might wonder, where in my body do I feel this? What ideas are driving it? Is it going to last forever? If we take a moment to really think about it, we can see that our emotions come and go like waves. They don't really come across as that solid or overwhelming, do they? Another technique is practicing non-attachment. A lot of our pain comes from holding on to thoughts and feelings like they're set in stone. Buddha shared that everything is always changing, even our thoughts and feelings. When we stop saying "I am sad" and start noticing it as sadness is arising, we actually create some space and freedom for ourselves. Compassion really helps in turning negativity around. You know, a lot of times, feelings like anger or resentment actually come from a place of pain rather than responding with more anger. We can choose to bring some self-compassion into the situation. It's important to remember that suffering is something we all share, and every being goes through pain at some point. This change really opens us up and helps us go from just reacting to actually understanding. Being thankful is another strong remedy. When we're feeling bogged down by negativity, we can intentionally shift our focus to gratitude. Every morning, try jotting down 3 things you're thankful for. It's a nice little practice. As time goes on, this helps the brain to shift its focus towards the positive instead of the negative. One more way to transform negativity in Buddhism is through Tonglen meditation, which is a Tibetan practice focused on giving and taking. In this meditation, we imagine ourselves taking in the suffering of others and then exhaling relief, kindness, and peace. This practice helps us shake off negativity and really boosts our bond with others. In the end, we just need to keep in mind that negativity loses its power when we stop giving it attention. When we keep focusing on our resentments, going over past hurts, or talking negatively to ourselves, we just end up reinforcing those patterns. When we focus on building positive emotions through things like meditation, being kind, and staying mindful, those negative thoughts start to fade away on their own. Transforming negative emotions isn't about pushing them down. It's really about facing them with awareness and understanding. By practicing mindfulness, showing compassion, and consciously redirecting our thoughts, we can cultivate a mind that's resilient, peaceful, and brimming with positivity. Celebrating other people's happiness, known as mudita, really stands out in a world filled with competition and comparison. It's a refreshing approach to building a positive mindset. Rather than feeling envy or resentment when others succeed, we get to truly celebrate their happiness. It really helps us build stronger connections and gives us a sense of calm inside. We've all been there, right? You see someone else reaching a goal you want, and suddenly you can't help but feel a bit less than or even a twinge of envy. Buddhism suggests that having this mindset can lead to unnecessary suffering. When we get caught up in jealousy, it just deepens that feeling of being separate and lacking, which only adds to the negativity around us. When we embrace mudita, we move from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance, understanding that someone else's happiness doesn't take away from our own. Mudita is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or sublime states, that the Buddha talked about. The others are loving, kindness, maya, compassion, karuna, and equanimity, upekkha. Just like we show compassion for those who are going through tough times, we can also learn to truly celebrate the success of those who are doing well. When we celebrate other people's happiness, it sets off a nice little cycle. The more we do it, the more joy we end up feeling ourselves. Straightforward yet impactful way to cultivate mudita is by intentionally appreciating the successes of others. Whenever we notice jealousy arising, we can shift our focus by silently wishing the other person well. May they continue to experience joy and success. May their happiness inspire others. May I find my own unique path to fulfillment. By making this a habit, We rewire our minds to respond with joy instead of envy. As time goes on, it starts to feel natural, and we begin to view the world with an open heart instead of feeling threatened. Another technique is mudita meditation, where you visualize a friend, family member, or even a stranger feeling happy and let yourself experience their joy as if it were your own. This meditation helps dissolve feelings of competition and creates a deep sense of interconnectedness. Mudita shows us something really important. Happiness grows when we share it with others. Have you ever realized that when someone you care about achieves something great, it makes you feel happy too? This is because joy is not a limited resource. When we embrace mudita, we free ourselves from the toxic cycle of comparison and cultivate a mindset where happiness is abundant and shared. At its core, mudita is about letting go of the illusion of separation. Instead of seeing life as a competition, we recognize that we are all part of the same human experience. Someone else's success does not take away from our own. It is simply another expression of life's beauty. By practicing mudita daily through meditation, mindful reflection, and conscious celebration of others, we shift from scarcity to abundance, resentment to joy, and competition to connection. This is one of the greatest secrets of a truly positive and fulfilling life. Embracing impermanence to enhance positivity is one of the most profound teachings in Buddhism. Impermanence, or anicca, is the understanding that everything in life is constantly changing. First, this may seem unsettling. We often seek stability, clinging to relationships, possessions, or even emotions, hoping they will last forever. But Buddhism teaches that embracing impermanence is the key to true peace and positivity. When we resist change, we create suffering. We become attached to people, experiences, and even identities, fearing their loss. But when we accept that everything is in flux, we stop struggling against the natural flow of life. Instead of fearing change, we learn to ride its waves with grace. Eckhart Tolle echoes this truth in The Power of Now, where he explains that much of human suffering comes from resisting the present moment and clinging to an illusion of permanence. He writes, "Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. Make the now the primary focus of your life." When we shift our perspective from longing for stability to fully embracing the present, we open ourselves to true peace. A simple example of impermanence is nature. No season lasts forever. No flower stays in bloom indefinitely. The same is true for our emotions, thoughts, and circumstances. When we understand this, we stop over-identifying with temporary feelings. If we are sad today, we remember that sadness, like the seasons, will pass. This shift allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with a more balanced and positive mindset. Impermanence also teaches us to cherish the present moment because nothing lasts forever. Every experience is precious. Instead of rushing through life, we learn to pause and appreciate what is here now. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of the sun, the taste of a meal. This awareness naturally fosters gratitude and joy. One of the greatest sources of suffering is clinging to things that are bound to change. A job, a relationship, youth, status. The Buddha compared this to trying to grasp water in our hands. The tighter we hold, the faster it slips away. But if we hold life gently, knowing that everything is temporary, we find freedom and lightness. A powerful Buddhist practice to embrace impermanence is reflection on change. Each day we remind ourselves that everything is temporary, both joy and sorrow. Every experience is an opportunity to grow. Because life is fleeting, I will live fully today. By internalizing these truths, we cultivate a deep sense of peace and acceptance. Instead of fearing endings, we appreciate beginnings. Instead of clinging, we learn to flow. This shift in perspective leads to a more positive, resilient, and joyful life. Permanence also reminds us to let go of grudges and regrets. If everything is constantly changing, why hold on to past pain? when we recognize that both we and others are in a state of transformation. Forgiveness comes more easily. We stop defining ourselves by past mistakes and allow room for growth. Eckhart Tolle expands on this in A New Earth, emphasizing that our attachment to identities and external circumstances fuels unnecessary suffering. He states, "Anything you accept fully will take you into peace." This is the miracle of surrender. Just as Buddhism teaches that resistance creates suffering, Tolle reminds us that true freedom comes from surrendering to what is, rather than wishing things were different. By releasing attachments and embracing impermanence, we cultivate a deep inner peace that allows us to move forward without fear. Ultimately, embracing impermanence doesn't lead to despair, it leads to freedom. When we stop fearing change, we open ourselves to new possibilities, deeper gratitude, and an unshakable inner peace. Understanding the power of positive thinking in Buddhism is one thing, but applying it in daily life is where true transformation happens. Buddhism teaches that real change comes from consistent practice, not just intellectual understanding. To fully integrate positivity into our lives, we must train our minds daily, just as we would train a muscle. One of the most effective ways to do this is through mindful intention setting. Each morning, before starting the day, we can pause and set a positive intention. Today, I will respond with kindness instead of frustration. I will focus on what I am grateful for, rather than what is missing. I will see challenges as opportunities for growth. By consciously directing our thoughts, we train our minds to look for the positive instead of defaulting to negativity. Another key practice is awareness of speech and thoughts. Words have immense power. They shape not only our own reality, but also the experiences of those around us. The Buddha taught right speech, which means speaking with kindness, truthfulness, and encouragement. If we make it a habit to avoid gossip, complaints, and harsh words, we naturally cultivate a more positive environment for ourselves and others. Meditation remains one of the most powerful tools for reinforcing positivity. A simple practice is loving kindness meditation, metta, where we send good wishes to ourselves and others. Even just 5 minutes a day can shift our mindset over time. Another useful technique is gratitude meditation, where we reflect on 3 things we appreciate each day. This trains the mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. We can also integrate positivity into daily life through acts of kindness. Buddhism teaches that selfless giving, dana, brings immense joy. A simple act, helping a colleague, expressing appreciation, or offering a smile, creates a ripple effect of positivity. When we give happiness, we receive happiness. Mindfulness throughout the day is essential. Instead of rushing through life on autopilot, we can pause and breathe before reacting. Whether we're stuck in traffic, facing a difficult conversation, or feeling overwhelmed, we can return to the present moment and choose a wise, positive response instead of a reactive one. Finally, it's important to practice self-compassion. No one is positive all the time, and Buddhism does not ask us to suppress negative emotions. Instead, we acknowledge them, understand their impermanence, and gently guide ourselves back to balance. If we have an unskillful moment, we don't dwell on it. By making these small but powerful shifts, setting intentions, practicing mindfulness, speaking with kindness, cultivating gratitude, and embracing self-compassion, we don't just think positively, we live positively. This is the heart of Buddhism. True happiness is not found in external circumstances, but in the way we train our minds to perceive the world. Your mind, your reality. Everything we have explored in this journey leads to one fundamental truth: your mind shapes your reality. We cannot control every circumstance, nor can we prevent challenges, losses, or unexpected changes. But what we can control is how we interpret, respond to, and grow from these experiences. In Buddhism, positive thinking is not about forcing happiness or denying difficulties. It is a deep and intentional practice of training the mind to see reality with clarity, to let go of suffering, and to cultivate states of peace and happiness that do not depend on external circumstances. Throughout this video, we have seen how mindfulness helps us break free from autopilot mode, allowing us to observe our thoughts before they turn into overwhelming emotions. We have explored the power of compassion and loving kindness, not just as ways to improve relationships, but as tools for freeing ourselves from resentment and negativity. We have learned that negative thoughts are not enemies to be destroyed. They are like passing clouds in the vast sky of our mind. If we learn to observe them without identifying with them, we stop being their prisoners. We discovered that envy and comparison only trap us, while the practice of mudita, rejoicing in others' happiness, connects us to abundance rather than scarcity. And perhaps the most transformative realization of all, everything changes. Life is a constant flow, and when we stop resisting impermanence, we find a peace that is not shaken by every unexpected turn of fate. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we learn to appreciate each moment and live with a lighter heart. But understanding all of this is not enough. Knowledge without practice does not lead to transformation. If we want these teachings to truly shape our lives, we must train our minds every day. Just like the body grows stronger with exercise, the mind becomes more resilient through the repetition of healthy habits. Small actions can create big changes. Take a few moments each day to observe your thoughts without immediately reacting. Practice gratitude by focusing on what you have, rather than what is missing. Choose kind words for yourself and others. Take a deep breath before reacting to any challenge. And most importantly, remember that every day is a new opportunity to train your mind and choose peace over suffering. Let's keep growing together on this path of self-discovery. Subscribe to our channel for daily inspiration and grow as a person. Comment the word "now" and like the video to show your support. Also, consider sharing this video with someone who could use some encouragement to slow down and enjoy life more fully.